Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Hughes. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. Today, we're going to be talking with Seb, and we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence in marketing. I'm really looking forward to this. Seb, before we go any further, why don't you tell people where they can get hold of you?
Yeah, of course. So firstly, thank you so much for having me on here, Tim.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it. You can find me on, I have so many websites, but the main one you can find me on is marketwithseb.com, marketwithseb.com. So that's
Excellent.
where you can find out about me, what I do, how I help business owners to buy their time back, and also recently using AI as well.
So your photo on LinkedIn, you're holding up a prize, aren't you?
That's right. Yes, an award.
What is that?
So that was an award I received about 2 years ago for the best marketing campaign within a marketing syndicate.
Fantastic.
Very proud moment.
So you've been in you started in digital marketing about 10 years ago.
Correct, yeah.
And you generally have been working for you generally work for small businesses, small to medium businesses.
That's correct, yes. So we predominantly work with, as you say, small, medium businesses, service-based business owners. We're now branching out, and we do work with other industries, and we're doing a little bit more B2B side of things as our agency grows and expands. But that's always the core of who we wanted to help, because that's been ourselves from day dot. So we're very, very passionate about, in particular, small, medium business owners as well.
So you in terms of getting into AI, I guess like many people, AI just seemed to appear one day, and we've kind of needed to get used to using it. So how did you get into AI?
Well, initially, I'll be honest, I ignored it when it first came out, round about, I think it was a year ago, when it still, when it became popular and people were talking about it a lot. At first, I was like, not too worried about it.
There's a lot of hype, wasn't there?
Yeah, just ignored it, thought it was kind of a fad. And then I had a lot of my clients asking me about AI, and they were saying, can you look at this AI tool? Can you look at this AI strategy? And I thought, well, my clients are starting to ask me about it. I probably should get to grips with it myself, at least have an understanding. And yeah, so I really just did a lot of trial and error, looked at the obvious Chat GPT, did some research, looked at other tools. So I used some tools related to video editing with AI. And yeah, I was just blown away because, as I say, at first I thought it's just a fad. It was just a whatever it was. Didn't think it would be as powerful and as useful as it is now, especially for a lot of things that myself and our clients do.
So explain to us what AI is, and assume I know nothing about AI. Explain it to me.
Of course. So the best way I could explain it in layman's terms is it effectively can be your own personal assistant. So if I talk about Chat GPT as an example, a lot of us are familiar with it. For those of you who are not, it basically generates content and information for you based on a specific input. So for example, and this is why I say it could be your own personal assistant, if you wanted to have a blog post written about your business, normally you would have to write it yourself, or your marketing person would do it, or you'd outsource it, or whatever. The point is, you would have to, or someone would have to manually write it. Whereas now you could put that same task that you used to put to an assistant or to a freelancer, you can instead put that into Chat GPT and say, please write me a blog post with 10 steps about why digital marketing is so powerful, or whatever your topic or business is, and it will instantly generate that for you. So it's just absolutely revolutionized the way that we, that especially me and my clients, are working and have been working. It's just done a total 180 on its head. It's just, those are just a few little examples.
I had someone come to me the other day. I approached an academic to come on this podcast, and the academic is an expert on NPS, Net Promoter Score. So his marketing person said, well, what do you want to talk about NPS? I know nothing about it. That's the point of bringing the person on. So I basically went to ChatGPT and put in a prompt and said, I need to interview an academic about NPS, and I need 10 questions which will cover me a 20-minute interview, and it came up with 10 questions, and I've sent them off to them. And the questions are just amazing.
Yeah.
I know that there's lots of, whenever you're using AI, people say that you should check the work, because there has been instances where it lies, or what's it been called, hallucinations, but it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's what I found as well. And exactly as you've said it, there's been a lot of cases where I have checked it and I thought, actually, they've probably articulated it better than I could have on certain things.
Yes.
It's like, whoa. So yeah, as I say, it's just really is my own personal assistant for a lot of things. And I'm starting to learn more and more about it every day. And the more I use it, the more ideas I have behind how myself and my clients can use it as well.
So what do you think's changed by it? Because as you say, we can write things now that we could, you're an intelligent person, you can write intelligent content, but here we are with an AI assistant that can write better things than you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it even goes further than that. So, this is something that I've heard, and this is something that I'm kind of testing out. But as well as being able to generate the content, there's even AI tools where you can generate additional prompts that can then upload that content to a certain platform. So it used to be the AI just generated it and you'd copy and paste it, or you'd have to then still manually do something. It can even go a step further than that. And that would involve things like training the AI to do a certain task. And, there's a few little technical things connecting one software to another, but that's my domain anyway, and that's my world. So it's just like, I actually know how to do those things, and so it's really just so powerful in that respect.
I actually wrote a prompt for those that when you type something in, they're called prompts, and I put in a prompt saying, can you write a sarcastic response to this spam email I've received, but let them down lightly. And it comes up with absolutely fantastic replies.
I'd love to.
And I've sent it off to a number of people.
Absolutely love that. It's just, there's endless things you could use it for. It's just, what I've mentioned is one of a million ideas, probably more than that. And it's so powerful because it's just its learning capacity is just unlimited. It's taking all the information that's possibly available on the internet, and it's accelerated.
That's the AI phoning you.
Yeah, very good.
So what do you see? I mean, what has everything changed, or what do you see has changed with that, with being able to use AI?
Yeah, so a lot's changed in terms of not just writing and creating content, but in terms of hiring a task force. That's something that I've been doing in terms of, so give you an idea, right now, recently, I've hired a full-time virtual assistant. And I would have originally hired them to, create content and do video editing and all the rest of it. Whereas now I'm actually hiring them to look into some AI specific tools that do all those tasks and basically manage that task as well, and series of tasks. So it's very powerful in that respect. And yeah, it's just totally changed the way that I work, where I'm just thinking of a case of, not so much what task can I get them to do, but what task can I get AI to do as well. And a little bit of my background with the marketing side is marketing automation, which is kind of a separate thing, but it does link into the AI side of things as well. So for example, you could have you've probably seen on websites where you submit a request of some kind, and you wait for someone to get back to you. You could actually automate someone replying, and you can have a kind of almost a real conversation, but it's actually an AI replying back and forth. So let's say you owned a travel business, for example. You had an inquiry come through, and someone was asking about travel deals that you have, and let's say they were doing it 2-3 in the morning, where you're obviously not going to be awake and be able to reply to that. Now, the standard thing would be, I'll just send them an automatic response, and that's fine. But to be able to have a real conversation, it actually is real, but it's generated by AI. That's another way that's really revolutionized, how we run our businesses, and the way we, and when we do that as well, the customer service level for what you do also increases too. You're immediately able to not just get back to someone, but get them what they need as well, which is so powerful.
So one of the things that we talked about in the preparation call was that, and you said that in effect, you could start a whole new business using AI, because you could create landing pages, sales pages, content, images, logos, etc., and you could spin that up far quicker than what you could have done a year ago.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Immediately, as I say, one example is, using AI. Obviously, I talk about how we generate content a lot. That content I'm referring to is predominantly text. That's one example, but you can use AI to generate you some logos. So there is a tool specifically called Canva, where Canva's pretty much a photo or image.
Canva's an amazing especially a free resource.
Yeah, it is, and absolutely, I love it. I do use it quite regularly. But a lot of these tools, like Canva, and there's other examples as well, they've even got AI tools, built into the software itself. So you don't even, in a lot of cases, have to use Canva and then use another tool and all the rest of it. You can just go into Canva, and they've got plugins, things you can add in, where you can generate a logo, you can generate content for your business, generate social media posts all around that new business idea you have as well. And the other thing you can use ChatGPT for, as an example, is different marketing ideas and different strategies. So let's say you wanted to create a marketing campaign of some description, and you're having a bit of a stumbling block. Me as a marketer, even I have these stumbling blocks. I can use ChatGPT to generate 20 creative marketing campaign ideas, where those are ideas that really stand out and are very different to what everyone else is doing as well. My industry is very kind of, can be a bit hypey. People are giving away, watch this webinar, make £1 million overnight kind of thing. So it will give you ideas of different kind of marketing tools and strategies you can use to kind of avoid that kind of hypiness. And in terms of going back to the prompts as well, you can actually give, and I mentioned about how you can train these software, so you can actually give it information, give it feedback, and tweak it so that it really generates content to your liking. Because sometimes it'd be a bit generic, but as you train and develop it, then it can become a lot more refined for what you're looking to do.
Yeah, we've used it to develop keywords. We launched another podcast called SalesTV.live. And what we needed there was a structure of in effect, episode titles. And we got it to basically create that and create a matrix of them. It's just amazing what it created.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I've kind of mostly just used it for marketing purposes, but switching gears quite significantly here. I have a 3-month, soon to be 4-month daughter, and if I was stuck for ideas, because we're coming around to Christmas now, if I was stuck for ideas for that, obviously I'm not.
I'm going to go and do that now with my channel.
That's it. I mean, I like to think I'm not quite that lazy, obviously, but in all seriousness, it can help you in your personal life as well as in business as well. And one thing I would advise people to do is spend an afternoon or a morning or some time, get up early or stay up late if you need to, and just sit, brainstorm ways you can start using this software. And I recommend really getting to grips with it and just trying it out, doing your research on it, of course. And the reason why I recommend doing that is because we typically, especially as business owners, we do things a certain way, and that certain way can help, and it can get us to a certain point, and that's fine. But doing things a slightly different way, even if it's a little bit of a 1-degree turn and you're just doing one little thing differently, it can just make a world of difference. And it's especially relevant to the AI and of course what we've been talking about as well. So that's definitely my go-to bit of information for everyone who's listening and is a little bit skeptical of the AI stuff, because remember, I said I was skeptical myself, and I was a non-believer at first. So take it from me that it's not too late to get in and to And you don't have to be an expert at it. You really can just
it's a bit like the way I liken it now. I'm 1,000 years old, so I remember when spreadsheets and word processors and things like PowerPoint were invented, and that changed completely the way that we did business. Because it was just so easy for you to be presented with a spreadsheet and someone would say, send me a spreadsheet. But the thing is that kids have now learned that from school, and now they're part of, there was a time I remember when people would put on their CV, I've got Excel skills or PowerPoint skills. Now you wouldn't put that on there because everyone would assume that you've got it. But ChatGPT, or being able to use prompts on any particular AI, is exactly the same. So it's the same type of skill as everybody's going to need to be able to do it. So as soon as somebody basically sits down in the evening or in the morning, whatever, and sits there and says, okay, I'm going to try this out and get comfortable with it and then know what it's about, the better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a case of it is like anything, when you first learnt to drive a car, for example, it took a while to do that. And when we first started using computers, again, it took a while to kind of learn, develop those skills, whatever it is you were doing on a computer at the time. It's just one of those, as you say, it's going to become a necessity at some point. Right now, it's kind of I'd say it's a mandatory thing, but some people probably say it's optional, but it's going to grow and scale it and really develop. And of course, there's little worries and concerns that yes, AI can be used to clone voices and things like that. But of course, as there's these problems that will happen, there'll be solutions to overcome them. There'll be things like the example I just gave. An AI is not going to know a secret word that which might be your first pet, for example. It's not necessarily going to know that. So I know that with some people there's concerns of AI, and they've probably watched too many Terminator films, and I obviously understand the concerns, and they are certainly valid. But the benefits are absolutely huge, and the fact that we can access this stuff for free. It used to. I mean, AI is obviously not necessarily a new thing, but it's the fact that it's so accessible now and free to use by anyone who's got access to the internet. It's just there's no excuse not to give it a go and see what it can do for you, and just do baby steps. Just do pick one thing you want AI to do for you and to help you with, and just start with that. Don't overwhelm yourself too much from day one. Just start small.
So is there anything that we need to bear in mind in terms of checking it or brand alignment or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. So that's very important, and that will come into your prompt process as well. So and it's a case of, hey, let's say you do get ChatGPT to generate your content, you do forget to do that. It is something you can get ChatGPT to change, but having those prompts from the get-go is very important. One thing I talk a lot about with what I do and with my clients from a marketing perspective, but I think it applies to this as well, is start with the end in mind. Right. So if you're writing your content, whether it's email marketing, doesn't matter what it is, you'll probably want it written in a certain way. So you want to have the end in mind of, if you're writing to a certain audience, for example, or if there's a certain one example I could say is I asked ChatGPT recently to write an email for me, a marketing promotion email, and it was very formal, and that wasn't really my audience. So I went and I gave it a prompt to say, could you write it in a more colloquial fashion? Yeah. And it managed to do that. So it's just really having that end in mind. And again, if you had a real assistant, you were actually saying to them, hey, I want it written in a certain way, you just got to make sure you carry those instructions over and just have that from the get-go. And I would always just say, reverse engineering, have the end in mind, and just making sure that if you have that clear input and that effective input, then the output's going to be effective as well.
I agree. And the response that I asked to be sent to the spam emails, I said, can it be sarcastic but professional?
Yeah.
And it came back and it was sarcastic but professional.
100%. Yeah, but if you miss those bits out, then it would have just
Yes. But that was part. It's as good as the prompt, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Because the thing to remember with something like ChatGPT, it has so much information in its brain that's not a brain, but in its system that you have to bear that in mind. And it's also something in terms of my business as well. If I'm creating content for a client, I'll always ask a lot of questions to that client as well. And one thing that I've seen work with ChatGPT is, and talking about the subject of prompts, is what I've seen work well is someone basically asked ChatGPT, given it all the kind of initial prompt information, and it's asked ChatGPT to ask them 20 questions about their business. So you're almost kind of doing the reverse. So ChatGPT is asking you 20 questions about who's your audience, what's your product, what's the business about, who's the company owner, so that you can then again have that clear input. So yeah, it's a bit of extra work, but it's going to be absolutely worth it if you want the right result.
Seb, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise about AI. It's a fascinating conversation, and I'm sure it's going to grow and get even more interesting. Where can people find you?
Thanks so much. So you can find me at my website, marketwithseb.com. So at marketwithseb.com, I actually have a bit more information about not just where you can find me, but where you can actually download some of my proven campaigns for free. And a lot of these, you can actually take these proven campaigns and use AI to accelerate them and generate additional content for them. So, it's something that I give away totally free of charge. I don't believe in just giving away another ebook that people don't read. I want to give away something valuable that you can literally copy and paste, and again, use AI to really accelerate that as well. So you can find that at marketwithseb.com.
Marketwithseb.com. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Seb, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much.